This message is for all America. If there's one video I wish you'd watch all the way to the end, it's this one. Stay tuned. Howdy folks again, Dave Man here, Rollman Revolution. In light of the Trump decision that happened in New York, I figured I would give a response because I went onto social media the last couple days and I was surprised that the people that I know who live in my community, so many people that were cheering about the decision that came down on the 34 counts, all guilty. And many of the comments and just the overall ignorance of the American population, that they would have such a vitriol hate for somebody, that they wouldn't care exactly what that case was all about. All that mattered to them that their guy was defeated. The guy they don't like was destroyed, ruined. But what you don't know, especially if you're one who truly believes all of that cheering, America really lost in New York that day because we turned a court system that used to have equal protection under the law, in which defendants were given the biggest protection simply because you're innocent until proven guilty in our country. But everything about this case from the moment that it started, from the redistricting, for the location to the judge selection, was all, they said, by draw of the hat. Oh, really? You're going to tell me that Judge Merchan was by draw of the hat? Yeah, he got Steve Bannon, everybody, right? All of them, all the key people, Trump including. No, this whole thing stunk from the beginning. And if you were a person who followed it, not what the mainstream media told you, I mean, you actually investigated what was going on from the people on the inside of the court that actually were reporting on how things were going day by day. Even people that did not support Donald Trump, didn't vote for Donald Trump, lawyers who were well revered, said this case was an absolute dog and pony show, a complete and utter joke. The fact that Alvin Bragg was even pursuing this when nobody wanted to pursue it 7 years ago, before Trump ran the first time. This whole thing is so well timed, so well calculated, and the people that are funding it and making it happen is the opposition of Donald Trump. That's called election interference. Look, it's not by accident that 4 court cases just so happen to roll out in 2024, the year that Donald Trump is the #1 candidate and is destroyed in every poll thus far. And then at the same time, 4 cases come out, all of which is just trying to dry him up, pull him in every different direction, take him off the campaign trail. And you think the American people are not aware of this. That's what blows my mind. I'm blown away by how many people still watch MSNBC, CNN, Fox News even. I mean, there's a couple people on Fox that still, have a little bit of spark in them, but the rest are reading scripts. They're all selling an agenda, a narrative. And as long as people are still biting that narrative because they have a vitriolical hate for Donald Trump, I still don't understand, because of the way somebody talks. I worked in the business world most of my life, and I've always said the way you can determine how a person really is, don't ask them or the people that work side by side with them. Ask the people that person is in charge of. If you go and ask the people who that person manages or takes care of or is the leader for, and they come back and tell you, yeah, that's our go-to guy, yeah, we love him, we go to bat for that person any day. If they say that, then you got yourself a winner there. Go and talk to anybody who's ever worked for Donald Trump. Majority, if you had 100 people, 99 of them would say he's an awesome person. So that's a pretty damn good track record, okay? And even if you didn't know that, he gave this country 4 years of peace and prosperity. Now remember, People who know me and know me well know that I did not vote in 2016. I didn't vote because, again, I always thought that the entire system was bullshit up to this point. I had watched year after year after year, and I was very involved as a young man in the election processes, and I saw what happened behind the scenes, and I was appalled by what happened. But the problem was even if you went down to these local executive meetings, it was all run by the same old guard type people that don't have any connection to you or me. It's like, who represents the working class, the working man anymore? The Democrat Party used to be. My family came from New York Democrats, okay? They were from Long Island. They were in the thick of it. My uncle retired and died as a Democrat. The problem with it was these were Kennedy-type Democrats. These were working class people Democrats. It's not the Democrat Party that you have today. Look at all of the people that represent you in the Democrat Party. If you are a person who's a Democrat and hates everything Republican, hates everything Trump, look at the people. They're all rich. All of them are multimillionaires. And it shocks me that people don't see it has nothing to do with the labels. Forget the labels. Take the labels and throw them out. Republican, Democrat, they're both bullshit. Both of them. Now, I didn't have a stake in the outcome in 2016, but I saw it has nothing to do with what a person says. Because how many politicians have you and I both seen come before us that have talked a good game and have told you, yeah, I'm going to do this for you. And yeah, you know, if you just put me in the office, I'll make sure that you get all the checks you want. And I'll make sure that you got the kids funded for, you know, education and schooling. And how many times have we heard a politician stand up there and tell us about hope and change and build back better and bullshit, right? We've heard it all. But nothing ever changes. Your life is getting worse. And it's getting worse by the day now. And that's under this Biden administration. Okay? The summer of 2019 was the best summer we had had. Taxes were all-time low. Unemployment all-time low. You know, revenue and your own money in your own pocket at an all-time high. And people easily forgot that. Why? Because of the and that huge little thing that happened for 3 years you're not allowed to talk about? Yeah. All of a sudden that happened. And people forgot about everything all of a sudden. And it's crazy because you can't tell right now the shit that we are living in is worse, and it's getting worse by the day. We have 14 million illegals in the country now. What do you think is happening? They're going to replace you, okay? They're going to get rid of you in some way or fashion because, you know, you're an American and thinks you're better than everybody else, right? And you have that good job. Well, we're going to knock you down a few notches and give these jobs to those people. Okay, but seriously, in 2016, I had no stake in the outcome. And in the first 100 days after Trump was elected, he did everything he said he was going to do. Nobody's ever done that. And look what had happened. The economy started turning around. Other countries started respecting the United States for the first time in years. He got a deal going on with the Saudi Arabians, the Israelis. And I mean, think about all of the things that were accomplished. All the while, fake impeachment number 1, fake impeachment number 2, Russia hoax, Russia hoax, Russia hoax, all throughout his presidency. From the moment the man stepped in the office, they were on his ass. And it was all bullshit. And you're going to tell me that this court case in New York City is all just legitimized and it just came out in the middle of nowhere? Use your fucking head. I don't understand why people don't think anymore. This isn't about Republican, Democrat. This is about your country. What happened in New York City should appall you. I don't understand how people can sit there and cheer. The mainstream media go on television. You're a bunch of traitors if you're saying that that was a good thing that happened. How dare you? You're a despicable human being if you think what happened there was legitimized in any way. That was a joke. And if they can do that to a sitting or former president, they can do it to you, little shit nobody. They can tear your whole neighborhood apart. Just call it justified in the court system that they create. That judge was handpicked. The jury was 87% of the people in the jury pool voted for Biden. And the judge made sure that anybody, social media, that had anything to do with Trump, showing pro-Trump, were objected or kicked out right away. Now you tell me, a jury of your peers, that Donald Trump would ever had a fair shot, even if this trial was legitimate, which it wasn't. You had two key witnesses, a bimbo porn star and a known liar who was a former lawyer who was disbarred and was caught in criminal situations before and even testified that he embezzled money. I mean, I'm blown away by that is what they presented. The prosecutor, the whole was funded by Soros. The judge handpicked, and then Matthew Colangelo, who worked out of the Biden White House, was sent over to help assist this whole situation, which nobody wanted to touch years ago, but all of a sudden everybody wanted to touch it now. And then they turned a misdemeanor into some kind of felony. It was a bookkeeping error. Okay, nobody in the mainstream media is telling you exactly how we got to the crime that we are at. Nobody's telling. They're just telling you this guilty verdict and the judge did great and the jury did great. They're not telling you exactly how we got here. You know why? Because they know that the pathway from how we got to where this case started to where it ended up is all horse shit. It's amazing. I thought Americans were better than this. I mean, I feel betrayed as a human being knowing that all of these people actually exist in this country, okay? Because you know what? 100 years ago, nobody in the neighborhood would put up with any of this horse shit. Where in the hell are the real men in this country? The real men, the ones that are willing to die. Because we don't have them there anymore. Those people up in Washington, D.C. are a bunch of pussies, even the people in Congress. It took until what, today, before somebody's going to start doing, if Congress doesn't start getting up their ass and doing things, we're going to start moving you. Because again, this is insanity. We're supposed to have representation. Nope. How about this? We ain't paying our taxes anymore. No taxation without representation, because we ain't being represented. So that means you ain't getting paid anything. I am done dealing with this Congress. You better do what you're supposed to do. We're following the law or we're not. This is either a country or it's anarchy. You need to pick which side of the fence you're on. Because this is nonsense. What happened in New York the other day is a crime. And you allowed that show to go on. Where are the subpoenas? Where are the people that are going on with Hunter Biden and that whole racketeering thing that he was doing? It's like you're putting up a former president who's been investigated more than anybody else. A Mar-a-Lago raid that we are finding out now, okay, was 100% illegal. And then that the FBI had an authorization from the Justice Department on a shoot to kill. They had a triage unit set up, a medic on hand. What were they going down there to do? What were they hoping they were going down there to do? These are questions that this Congress needs to be asking. And right now, the front runner of the Republican Party, the president that 80% of this country is going to be voting for and will probably dominate in a landslide in November, and if this president goes to prison, all hell's going to break loose in this country. This is not America. And anybody who is out there in the streets cheering for this are the enemies of the United States. Because under no law was anything that happened in New York legitimate. No way, no shape, no form. Sorry. You have to go read the information yourself. Why don't you go read the court? Read the actual, what everybody said in the court, because that's going to come out eventually soon, okay? And you're going to see exactly the deck was so stacked. There's a reason they didn't want cameras in there. The reason they didn't want this put on television. They didn't want you to see what was really going on in there. And you think the media, who's been lying to you, they lied to you about everything. Americans used to be smarter than this. They could tell. Americans used to put their money where their mouth was, and they could tell when somebody was giving them lip service. They could tell when a politician was giving them a bunch of verbal diarrhea. They can't tell the difference between reality and bullshit anymore. And the reality is that if we're cheering that the justice system just screwed over somebody by manipulating the law in any old way, shape, and form they wanted to, by throwing anything at the wall that stuck, and because they knew that the system was going to protect them, had a free-for-all. I mean, you put a gag order on a sitting president and a defendant. Okay, how is a defendant, the person who should have the ability to say, look, I'm innocent in any way, shape, or form, and this is why, right? Be gagged. And they say, oh, this is because it's Trump, and because Trump is so bad. It doesn't matter. He's still a defendant. Equal protection under the law. It's supposed to be supported and utilized equally. What is wrong with us? I'm just shocked. I mean, how are we ever supposed to graduate from a zero-level society when we can't even figure out the basics of human existence on this planet? We can't even figure out when we are being lied to by other people. The arguments and the fight is not between you and me. It never has been. That's the thing. And if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you will know that I'm telling you the truth, because things that I said 7, 8 months ago are coming to fruition now. You can see them. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist. It's because truth doesn't have to be sold to you. It never has to. You will adopt truth automatically. You'll recognize it and go, yeah, I know that's true. But bullshit doesn't have that. Too many people get dazzled by this. In my whole life, all I've been trying to do for the people that I love, from the whole time that thing was going on, that we now know now is a bioweapon, and the antidote to that they injected into all those people is causing turbo cancers, and it just blows my mind that our own government would sanction all of this, that pharmaceutical industries would suppress all of this, knowing that it had potential catastrophic effects. I mean, it's like, what has happened to the human being? Is it any way, shape, or form to get whatever I want? Is that how we want to raise the future generations of America? What happened to being American? What happened to values, integrity? Your word meant something. What happened to men being men? And then if I shook your hand and said, you could damn well better believe I'll be there, that my word meant something. I mean, I watch men today. They're so pussyfooty. They're so wishy-washy. It's like, what the hell are they putting in the soup? I mean, I'm not a huge-ass guy. I'm 5'7", 130 pounds. What the hell does that mean? But you know what? I got more balls than half these people that weigh 250 pounds. What happened to us, America? That includes you. I've been asking myself these questions for years, but I'm doing something about it. Are you? You got to recognize the things around you, that they're not going to change unless you make them change. If you don't get out there, if it's not a priority in your life, it's not going to be a priority to anybody else. Because people are going to follow the people who have courage. And if you're willing to take a step forward, just take the step. You'd be quite surprised how many people will follow behind you. Look, this world needs real heroes. I mean, real heroes. Not these people that they pedestalize and tell us, oh, you should believe in that person because, you know, he's a super jock. No. Our heroes used to be like military veterans and generals and people that stood for something, people that did things that were said to be impossible. Now we laugh at that. We shit on people who come up with a new idea that doesn't meet with the status quo. Look, you know, the one thing I recognized about Donald Trump many, many years ago, and he is 100% right about this. When he made a building, anytime he was involved in the structure of a real estate project and he was involved in the building, if he was going to put his name on it, he was going to make sure that everything in that building was going to be tip-top, top-notch, the best of the best. Why? Because if you're going to do anything worth doing, you better do it right. Because if you're going to put your name on something, you want to make sure your name means what you put into that. So why else would you put your fucking name on something if it's shit, right? And I recognize that about that man many, many years ago. And the only thing he did when he got into office was he used the Trump name, but he just changed it to America. He built the American brand back. And he was punished for that. And you want to know why? Because the globalists, and the people, the fourth branch of government, this deep state apparatus that you keep hearing about, those terms, okay? It's not all cloak and dagger, hocus pocus, conspiracy theory nonsense. No. This has been going on for over 100 years. It's ever since the inception of the Federal Reserve Act. The robber barons got in, and now they control the money supply, and then they can control and manipulate people in Congress, put the people they want to in the positions of power, so that when the push comes to shove and they need to call my friend down at the Gas and Energy Regulation Company, well, you know what? He's going to do exactly what I need him or her to do, because they are in my back pocket. The way this shit goes away is when you get involved and say, you know what? The world I want is one where my kids can go to college for free, or a place where my kids can go down the street and not have to worry about getting shot or getting robbed or having to be offered drugs, not have to worry about fentanyl being on every corner street, not have to worry about, your daughter getting raped. I mean, America used to have values. We used to stand on principles. We didn't all have to agree on every little issue, but they, and I'm talking about the mainstream media, this apparatus that continues in your face 24/7 all the time, telling you why you should hate me and why I should hate you. Did you ever think that maybe we don't hate each other at all, and that maybe if we just sat down and talked this out, because they don't want you talking to me, they don't want you listening to me, they don't want us agreeing on anything, because the more we're divided, the more this crap can continue. I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, my entire life has been spent trying to get people to just look at this place a little differently. Because once you see around the corner and see what's kind of really going on, it empowers you to do the things you will need to do to be prepared when these people screw you. And so far, everybody just wants to blame somebody else and say, oh, it's Trump's fault. Fucking Trump. Seriously. What does that mean? When I hear people say, I hate Donald Trump, and I listen to a woman just babble. And most of the time, it's middle-aged women, white women, and even black women, some Hispanic women, but overall, it's in that category, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if we have set up our system in a way that we sell women that a politician should look a certain way, sound a certain way, be a certain way, like a Barack Obama type, of one that you want to marry, who has the nice deep voice and comes off with the articulate sound. Is that what we're looking for? Or are we looking for a person who stands on muscle, might, and power? Okay, because the president is not a person you're marrying. A president is a person who is leading a nation. It's like a general in the army. You don't want your generals kissing the ass of its privates. No, you want the general leading their people to become successful in whatever mission is set in front of them. We lost something. My goal has been to get it back to where we always knew it was. We always thought it was. But these people slowly just stole it, a little bit at a time. A slow drip, and then normalized it. A slow drip, and then normalized it. And now, the America that I grew up in is unrecognizable. The American my family, my parents grew up in, completely unrecognizable. And grandparents will forget it. When you give a psychopath a little bit of power, they take it all. And then they surround themselves with other psychopathic idiots so that they can be the smartest idiot amongst the group of idiots. And when I say idiots, these are people that are easily manipulated, and they don't care, because as long as they're getting paid big bucks, good money, they'll sell anything out. I thought being human was better than that. I don't, what is the purpose of doing anything if the whole intention is to destroy everything else in its process? These people are so set on destroying you, destroying me, destroying the livelihood of everything that America is, was, and could be, so that a small few of people can take it all and then divvy out whatever's left over to the rest of everybody, like a tribute to you for supporting them. No. America's a sovereign nation where we can govern ourselves. We don't need Big Brother to tell us what to do. You are a smart human being. You wipe your ass, you take care of your kids, you held a job. You've been busting your balls your entire life and you got nothing to show for it. And it should never be like that. And you know why it's like that? It's because they stole it all. And then have you and me arguing against each other. When it's not you and me that are the problem. It's them. It's us versus them. When I say it's MAGA, make America great again. That's all it means. They make it sound like it's a cult. It's make America, make this country great. Put your country first, like you would do with your own family. Put your family first. You don't take care of the neighbor's kids and then leave your kids to starve. No, you take care of your family first. That's all Donald Trump has ever been trying to do. And somehow the media has turned this into some kind of fiasco, turned him into a criminal. And the whole purpose of the trial, when I get back to that, was that they wanted to be able to say on television every single night, convicted felon Donald J. Trump. That's all this was about. And I'm just telling people, be smarter than that. When you see MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, and Nicole Wallace, and all these other idiots try to manipulate you, listen to them closely. They try to use logic, very similar to the way a fortune teller tries to give you vague ideas, generalizations, things to try to make you think about, but are not true. They're not based in any reality. They're all just based in the narrative that they have souped up for you. As long as you are willing to keep taking from their trough, they're gonna give it to you for free. I'm just asking people, arm yourself with the truth. It's available. Look, I'm not beating on everybody. I understand that everybody comes from this stuff from a different angle. I know that better than anybody. Like I said, I came from New York City Democrats. And I'm here in Florida supporting a person who works in the Republican, or is the front runner of the Republican Party, who is also a New York City Democrat his whole life. Forget about the labels. He had to pick one party or the other. That's the way our system works. But forget about the labels. Look at the record. Look at what the person's done. Look at the economy. Look at the numbers. Look at everything. You're not marrying this person. The person gave you peace and prosperity for 4 years, then had an election stolen from him. Because if there were 81 million votes, those people would be in the streets right now cheering. There's nobody. They don't exist. It's just exhausting that we have to keep talking about this, but it's your country. It's your future. I just wish more people gave a shit. You know, it could be so much more. And it really wouldn't even take a lot. It'd just take the right people who actually have a little gift in the area of business, who kind of understand how human beings think and what human beings need, and understand how to listen to human beings. It really isn't that difficult, you know? They've turned this, and I blame it on the lawyers, because again, you have to be a lawyer to understand the bullshit communication in Washington, but I blame this elitism, this no term limits, lobbying, special interests. A public servant should never be. It should be illegal to lobby a public servant. It should be illegal to manipulate a public servant. It should be a crime at the highest level to manipulate or to take bribes or to a public servant to be involved in it. Why? Because when you take money from people, people expect something in return for the money they're giving you. It's not a gift. Nobody gives you things for... I mean, really? Use your head. Joe Biden has taken more gifts from the Chinese Communist Party than anybody. He's the president of the United States. He allowed a Chinese weather balloon supposed to fly over and take pictures of the... I mean, are we not thinking as Americans? Are we not thinking? Are we not thinking anymore? That's what has happened. And if you're going to let other human beings, the media as well, tell you what to think and why to think it, then we're done for. The benefit of being an American was you have the ability. You don't have to be. You can be a bumbling moron if you want to, but you have the ability to inform yourself. You have the ability to speak up. You have the ability to say, I don't like this shit, and I'm going to do something about it. You have that ability. Now, if we do not fight and take this insanity away from Washington, D.C., we are done for. And I am not a negative fucking Nilly. I know deep down that we're going to win in the end. I just want people to realize that by getting involved, it unites the country. It brings us back to the roots that made America great in the first place. You know, the biggest problem with corporations is the bigger they get, the harder it is to remember what they originally came from. You know, some of these businesses started in a small garage or one store, someplace, somewhere. And then as it gets larger and larger and larger, what happens? They don't reinvest back in what made them great in the first place. You end up having divisions within these big, huge groups. And then you have groupthink groups that happen within inside of it. You have an in-group and an out-group. And it becomes a very big... United States is no different. Think of it as we have a whole bunch of people scattered throughout the U.S., that think differently, that have different jobs, that have different needs, different resources, different understandings, different belief systems. It's a melting pot, but we all have the umbrella of one thing: the freedom of speech, the freedom to practice the religion, the freedom to protect ourselves, to bear arms. You know, the amendments and the Constitution, the sweetness of it that's why it was such attractiveness for people from all over the world to come here. Because how are you supposed to be what you are supposed to be and be all that you can be if you're living under a world of tyranny? We're better than this. You're better than this. What happened in New York City is a crime. And because that happened, I have decided to work twice as hard now to get as many people informed about what's going on here. This is America, Jack. We don't take shit from nobody. All enemies, foreign and domestic, are going to pay in the end. I don't know what this was in New York City, but we're going to find out exactly what happened there. And the people that were involved in this show are going to pay handsomely for it. We're going to drag you through the system for it. But this time it will be under the law. It'll be legal harassment of a president. America, I am not your enemy. You are not my enemy. I'm not standing in the corner of Donald J. Trump because I am a pom-pom starfucker who believes that this is the best person of all time. No, I never said that, but I do believe that this man is providential. He's the best this country has had in a very long time. And if we didn't have him when we have him now, this country would be going in the direction that it's still going, and your life would be a whole lot worse. He is standing in the breach because he protects you. He stands for you. And by taking him out, that means he takes you out. You have no voice after this. So I'm doing everything I can to step up to the plate for the man who stepped up to the plate for me. And I hope people will come to their senses. People will see what happened for truly what it is. Look, these are patterns. 1 fake impeachment, 2 fake impeachments, a Russia collusion hoax, all made up. All made up. It's proven now. It's all made up. And you think that what happened up here in this timing, in the year that they're running for re-election, that all of these cases just came down and then they're going to drag it on, then you got to be a fool to believe that this is true and that any of this had any validity whatsoever. You're smarter than that. We're going to fight. I'm going to fight. I pray that you are out there on the battlefield with me. Look, there's more to this reality than all the nonsense they tell us we should focus on. There are deeper questions, bigger questions, and questions that I'm going to go into a lot more deeper if you follow my channel. But for now, we got to get the man right so that we can get the world right. We got to start communicating amongst our local communities and getting back to what makes us as Americans. We got to put this country first. I am not talking about all of the social issues and all that other stuff. That we can deal with later, but we're not going to have a country left if we don't look at what made us great in the first place. If we don't go back to what made this country great in the first place. If we are not willing to revisit that and we are going to allow the lawfare to go on, it's over. It doesn't matter. It's over. Cheering in the street for something like that the other day was... I was shocked. It's like watching people beat each other up and turn each other in during that whole COVID thing. It's like people, they had bullet boards saying, hey, if you turn your neighbor because they didn't wear a mask. I'm like, are we gotten to that point in our history that we're doing what our government just says, hey, Americans used to be smarter than this. You are smarter than this. Don't be afraid. Courage is contagious. Damn it, we need so many more people with courage. Because we don't have the representation right now with it. I really wish I was up there right now. These people are absolute rats. And we have got to get rid of this rot. All right, I've rambled on enough. But Donald J. Trump didn't deserve what he got there. That was an absolute joke. He is not a convicted felon. It just saddens me that that's what this country has come to. We're better than this. And I can guarantee you, I will be fighting to make sure that we are better than this. I'll see you out there, my friends. Take care. Peace.